Canada 9, Fiji nil. They the girls came to play and they did what they had to do. Let's talk about this real quick. So guys, we have Canada's Baby Reds, the W20s coming up and beating Fiji in a game that I think most of us expected to end that way. 9-0. It was 7-0 at halftime, and then just a lot of missed chances coming into the second half. Got two more in the second half coming through. Babe Reds came out to play on a heavily rotated, might I add, lineup. And I think there's a lot of big talking points coming from this game. I don't want to be the person who's always pouring water on fire, but this was Fiji. And I think Fiji was the worst team here. So I'm glad they were able to get 9. I think they could have got more. But I'm not going to be complaining over a big win. So guys, again, real quick, if you like this type of content, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you feel about it as it goes. So coming off of that 3-3 draw with France, where I feel that you clean up the defensive mistakes, they win that game. And then now they're sitting at 6 points, and it's a very interesting game, but that's all right. I think you look at those two matchups, it gets very fascinating. You see this team, the one thing I think I'll start off with is the depth came up. They were given the chance to play, and they played well. I mean, starting 7 out of the 11 players who started against France were rotated out. New players: Noel Henning, Claire Logan, Jadea Collin, Ella McBride, Kayla Briggs, Renee Watson, Annabelle Chukwu. All rotated into the lineup. Goalie and 6 out players. The only on the outside were Marcassini, Auti, Olivia Smith, and Amanda Allen. They were the players who stayed into the lineup. So heavily rotated, and you saw the chances come in. It was just a matter of time before they finally broke through. And when they finally broke through, it was just, it just kept coming. 9 goals overall in the game. Goal scorers, not to be forgotten, but the goal scorers. We had Olivia Smith in the 7th, and then you had Chukwu in the 24th, in the 34th and the 41st, Smith in the 28th, Briggs in the 32nd and 35th, and then the second half, Ella Auti in the 54th, and Ella McBride in the 67th. I mean, stats according to Google: 68 to 32 possession, 33 shots to 5, and 19 on target to 1, 400 passes to 200, accuracy 81 to 51. Yellow cards 1. Judea Collin pick up a yellow, and she will miss the game against Brazil. And then 16 corners to 2. If I want to be nitpicky and be like, they should have done this better. I mean, 16 corners. You got to convert a few more, but they did a very good job in terms of getting that result. It's hard to really evaluate a game like this because you know it's going to be lopsided. So the question becomes, are they able to find things? Near the end, they was getting very selfless, right? Everyone's trying to pass the ball to get someone a goal who maybe a regular who wasn't playing. It felt very much akin to, like, senior day in high school, trying to get all the seniors at least a score and get them. So it was good to see that sharing ability. Things that stood out, I mean, there's a lot of talking points. People were ready to call up Annabelle Chukwu, Olivia Smith, and co to the senior national team. I mean, I think Smith's already there. Chukwu, I would like to see a little bit more seasoning. I don't mind her being well done. She is medium rare for those who like that steak type. She's ready to go there. But I think it's a difference playing against girls versus playing against grown women. And I think that's something that Olivia is transitioning better in. And you see that a little bit with Amanda Allen, who is transitioning, getting her more playing time. She's another one who's kind of lost in the shuffle. But I think she'll be fine coming through. But I won't crown anyone because they beat Fiji 9-0, but I am glad that they beat Fiji 9-0. Other interesting point of this game, Annabelle Chukwu is now the all-time leading youth goal scorer on the women's side with 29 goals at the youth level. She's had a U15 cycle, two U17 cycles. Well, she played at the U17 World Cup replacing Rosa Malouf. Oh, how we forgotten you. Well, she's still there. There's depth in this program, guys. And then she played the U20s here. She's at the World Cup. She played the U17 qualifiers where they lost out to Mexico. And she has another U20 cycle. So Annabelle Chukwu is going to be here for a while, however long she wants to play. She is. I don't know if she's going to be the same level as that player, but she is Canada's Linda Caicedo, aka every youth tournament, we're dragging you back out to play. Olivia Smith, 3 goals back from there, primarily only playing U20 as an underager. So I think her 2 cycles are a little bit more impressive. And further down on this list is a player like Rosa Malouf, who, again, we're not going to talk about players who aren't there, but she's still there. There is talent in the attack for Canada. In case you were wondering, help is coming, and these players, if they all develop like we hope they will be fire. That being said, I think the other interesting thing was looking at the midfield, right? I love what I saw with the midfield, but a player who doesn't always get that recognition, at least for me, but I appreciate their game. I recognize their game, familiar with it. Florian Jourde, not Jourdain and CONCACAF because it's French, so it must be an accent aigu pour une raison ou une autre. Sorry about the French, guys. But her playing the midfield is always just steady. And every time I was about to tweet, then there's a turnover. And then I'm just like, see, now that's ill-timed. But she's a player in the middle who I think is low-key building a solid career at the university level. And I think she could continue to develop and be a low-key name that we're not looking at, but could step into the midfield if she develops, gets the minutes, and then now she's competing with everyone else in the pool. I think could be a fun player to watch as she develops her craft and goes through. This would be a good reason why I think they should have a U23 team, because then instead of worrying about trying to crack a senior team roster, she would have the U23s at a World Cup, or not a World Cup, at an Olympics, and have one more cycle to really dominate and play within the side. But that's besides the point. 9-1. 9-0, really. Where does that sit them? Right now, based off their groupings, they are second in Group B, which means they are pretty much guaranteed a top 3 spot in their group, which means more than likely they are moving through. Right now, as it stands, with Spain just beating Paraguay, and then the U.S. and playing that, then Nigeria falling to Germany. There's not a lot of teams in third place with more than 1 point, meaning a win could be all that you need. There's a hypothetical scenario. It's not very likely that if Fiji were to beat France, they have a chance to move on because the points would get them through. But third place with the 4 points, Canada is all but assured a spot in the next round. Just comes down to seeding. I'll have to go through. So far, Brazil and Colombia have moved on. Mexico with 4 points with a win and a draw themselves. They had a win versus Australia yesterday. But Brazil has looked good in their games. Canada has also looked well as well. I'm very curious to see what they're doing. But this side, I'm very excited to see what they're able to do. I haven't forgotten about past generations, but they are looking very confident, and there are. It's almost a double argument of, well, this is what happens when you keep a group together. In the same breath, there's so much talent. Do you have to keep a group together? Let them play, but give them good coaching, and you'll see what happens. Cindy Tai, I think, did a good job in this game. I'll be curious to see how she now performs against, say, Brazil in the game where she's resting most of her starters, so we can get a good look at what that team could be. And I think a favorable result means they could see themselves on top of the group. If they beat Brazil, they top the group, and it's a more favorable matchup. A third place matchup most definitely is coming their way. But we'll see how they do. But overall, a dominant performance by Baby Reds. Excited to see it. Guys, let me know what you thought. Also, let me know any other U20 players who have stood out to you. And as is always, I'm going to stop talking right now.